There was a guy called Sam. Sam had always wanted to learn how to ride a bicycle. He dreamt about riding a bicycle. He watched YouTube videos of people riding bicycles and tutorials, to the point that Sam actually went on to buy a $150 course on how to ride bicycles. Over the course of time, this takes Sam about a year. Now Sam feels he's ready to actually get his first bicycle. And right before Sam could actually hit the checkout button, an ad pops up. And the first thing Sam sees is the title called "The Dynamics and Mechanics of Riding Bicycles Perfectly." He decided to click the ad. And while in the ad, he was loaded with a ton of testimonials about the course, and they were so compelling to the point that Sam decided to stall his bicycle purchase and buy that course for $22.99. But there is another guy. His name is James. James also doesn't know how to ride bicycles, but he decides, what the hell, he's gonna wing it. So he goes to a cheap secondhand store and finds the cheapest bicycle that he could find, and he buys it. The first 2 weeks of purchasing this bike, James' leg is covered with bruises. But something interesting happened. Around the third week, James actually could balance on a bike and cycle to a considerable distance. In essence, James learned how to ride a bike. Now, the story of Sam is actually a really similar story for those who happen to fall into the trap of the dark side of self-improvement. You read the books, you buy the courses, you consume every single piece of information you can find on the internet, both free and paid. You join the online masterminds, but for some reason, you are still not getting the results. I happened to fall into this trap once upon a time, and in this video, I'll be sharing with you some of the things that I discovered that quite literally gave me a paradigm shift on how to go about self-improvement. Goodhart's law states, when the metric becomes the target, it ceases to be a good measure. Now, when I was knee-deep in improvement and productivity content, my main focus was actually the number of books I read in a year and not the number of insights I actually managed to apply in my own life. Sometimes we can be so focused on vanity metrics that we can actually lose sight of what really matters. The main reason why we read or consume information is actually to evolve from who we are to who we need to be, and not to accumulate knowledge that we know that we will never apply and have no intention of applying. But the thing is, no logical human being sets out to actively fail. But what most of us don't know is that this is much more subconscious than it is conscious. There was actually a really interesting quote by Carl Jung which goes like this: "Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate." When you are more aware on the real reason why you read and consume ferociously, then you're a step closer to attaining the result that you actually truly desire. And guys, if you're getting a ton of value from this video, please don't forget to hit the like button. It helps with the algorithm. Now let's continue. Yeah, it's a funny title actually, I won't lie, but I really couldn't come up with any other term that truly encapsulates this concept. Now, this is because sometimes self-improvement content or productivity content actually creates an illusion of progress. It actually tricks you into thinking that you are taking actions that moves you towards your goals, but in essence, you are not really doing anything that leads you towards your goals. Taking that, you are gaining information that could help you. But the thing is, when you overconsume, you actually get the same amount of dopamine hits or even more while sitting down and consuming than you would while actually doing the thing. So your body is actually tricked into basically doing nothing. Every book you finish, every insightful tweet you come across on Twitter, every motivational Instagram reel that you see on Instagram, all these pieces of content, when we consume them, they give us dopamine hits and we feel like we are actually doing something towards our goals. But what really happens is you trick yourself into thinking that you're actually doing the real thing, but in essence, you're basically just staring at pixels on a screen. Now, another way that we can actually fall into this pitfall or this trap is by something I like to call overconfidence. Have you ever met someone who this person claims to know, but when you come closer to this person, you discover that this person actually doesn't know, and you will notice that they really are not ready to learn anything. And that's actually sometimes the disposition that we have when we consume some of this content. Now, the thing is, most of this content, or some of them, actually have the potential to change your life. But because you've overconsumed some of this type of content in the past, you kind of develop a sense of, okay, I've come across this before, I know this, while you may not really know anything. Now, there's a really interesting quote I heard from Neil deGrasse Tyson. I will actually quote it, but I think it's going to hit better if you hear it yourself.
One of the great challenges in this world is knowing enough about a subject to think you're right, but not enough about the subject to know you're wrong.
Now, with everything that has been said, how do you actually fix this? Now, one way that you can actually solve this problem is through something called growth journaling. Now, this is basically you sitting down, really pondering a specific problem. Now, doing this actually forces you to think on what you've consumed in the past and what you are currently consuming and how you can actually apply it to solve life's problems. Now, there's a really famous quote I like from Socrates which says, "The unexamined life is not worth living." Now, another way that you can actually solve this problem is through writing down things that resonate with you. Now, anytime you go through YouTube or you're reading your favorite book or listen to your favorite audible or you see a random tweet and you find something, a nugget of wisdom that resonates with you, instead of letting that thing just pass you by and goes into the abyss of your subconsciousness, you can actually place it before your conscious mind by writing it down and really reflecting on those things instead of just letting it pass by and you forgetting them at some point, and when you really need them in the future you can't remember them, because the faintest pen is actually better than the sharpest mind. Now, another way is by accepting that you do not know. Now, there's a saying I heard: you know what you know, but you don't know what you don't know. If I moved into a new town and I read everything about that town on, let's say, Wikipedia, and I know some things about that town, but the thing is, a native is going to know a lot of things that I don't know. And if I go with the mind thinking that I know, I would not be able to learn the things that I don't know, that I should know. By rereading, this point really boils down to why you are reading in the first place. Are you reading for a metric? Are you reading for speed? Are you reading to just read 100 books in a year? Or are you reading to really gain insight and wisdom that can potentially change your life? Now, some books are not books that you read once. Some books actually books you read 2 times, 5 times, 6 times. Some books are books you read once every year because they are so dense with wisdom that you cannot unravel everything in just one sitting, so you may need to read them again. And guys, if you like this video, please don't forget to hit the like button. It helps the algorithm. And if you love this video, I think you're gonna like a video about how you can actually make your good habits stick. And remember to always keep it real. Bye guys.